All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Gorse. I'm one of the academic teachers here at TCTC. Welcome. This is the web design and app development program that you're going to be listening in on with Mr. Pazega. I just want to make a quick note that throughout the entire presentation, please, if you have any questions at all, whether it's about what he's talking about, the lab that you're going to see, he's going to walk you around the lab in a little bit, or any questions about the school in general, type those out in the chat room, and we'll leave time at the very end for any questions that you might have. But if you want to go ahead and type those out just to kind of save them in the chat room, we'll go back through to the very beginning and answer all your questions. So thanks again for stopping in, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pazega.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mr. Pozica, and I am the instructor at TCTC for the Web Design Application Development class. So I'm excited to show you guys a little bit about the program and the brand new lab that we started up over last summer. We have brand new equipment, brand new desks, computers, a couple interesting things that I want to show you once we go through this presentation. So I'm actually going to go to presentation mode and show you guys real quick a couple statistics and some neat things about career tech in general. So give me 1 second. Okay, so you should be seeing my slideshow. And the welcome screen, of course, welcome. This is our virtual open house. Normally, we would have every one of you, along with your parents and sisters and brothers, whoever wanted to come. Traditionally, they would show up and walk around the building, kind of like experiment a little bit with each program and choose what you want to do for your junior and senior class. But unfortunately, the way we are in our times, we have to do a virtual presentation. So we're going to do the best we can. Okay, next slide, career tech, how it works. So you could imagine, you got your choice of finishing out your high school or coming to a career tech your junior and senior years. So which one might be better for me? Look at the graduation rate, top box. 93% of career tech students graduate from high school compared to 80% of non-career tech. So that, you're still considered a high school student here, but you're also a career tech student. So you're specializing in something that you chose to pursue as your career, which, to me, that just probably explains the higher percentage of a rate of graduation versus, people who stay in high school. Okay, below that, learn. So real world skills are important. You really want to do a hands-on activity. You want to get good at what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So by coming to a career tech school, that's what you get. You get, the opportunity to work with, computers and learn how to program and build websites and do VR games and build games. I don't know very many high schools that can do that or actually allow the time to do that. So we have the opportunity to, hone in on something you may want to do for the rest of your life. So you get to do that hands-on. And prepare, obviously you want to prepare for a profession that may require some more schooling, 2 years or 4 years down the road. So look at the rate, 91% of students are better prepared for their future versus 44% who stay in their high school. So those are your reasons on why you would want to come, to a career tech school. This program in particular, web design and application development, you're looking at, what am I actually going to do? So we're going to start by the left column. You're going to maintain, create, and design websites. So, right off the bat as a junior, you're going to come in and if you don't know what you're doing with the website, fine, we teach you. We're going to teach you how to, code one, style it, with some CSS, go into some JavaScript, do whatever we have to do to make a really nice website. Then we move on to programming. You'll learn how to do basic programming and all the way to the point where you'll be able to make phone apps and obviously games. So that's junior, second semester, and senior level stuff when you get into the games and the mobile apps. Programming skills, I'll get into a little bit more into detail about the Xcode and the Apple products. We're excited that we have a program teacher, Mr. Foudy, that is, he comes in once a week and he teaches the juniors and seniors Apple Xcode program language. And it's just, like I said, when I get to that point of the presentation, I'll show you a lot more about that, in a little bit here. Okay, so how do I accelerate my success? So what could I be when I graduate? So some of the jobs out there: web writer, web producer, a coder, a designer, a developer, software application support, software engineer, a mobile app designer, strictly, work on mobile apps, or an entrepreneur, design and build whatever you decide that you really want to specialize in. So that's up to you. The next slide, we're going to look at a career tree, and we'll break it down, by education and say, not necessarily how much you can make, but the route that you can get there by going to school. So the last column, be ready for TCTC. What do I need, to come to this program? You got to have a passion. So we want you to have a passion for web design, for programming, for game design. We don't want you to come in thinking that you can play video games all day, because that's not what we do. We want you to come in with the idea, maybe that, hey, I really want to get behind that video game and see how the program was made and how it makes the game work so well. So we have to learn program languages in order to do that. Desire to be successful. So you got to have that, desire. Yes, I want to do this. I know it's going to be difficult, but I want to do it. Communication skills, written, oral is great. If you can, get that speech teamwork, where you're going to stand up in front of a judge, for the BPA competitions that we do, and not be afraid to, give speeches to judges in small groups. That would be awesome. GPA average of 2.5 or better. Algebra 1 or equivalent is required. Positive attendance record. And you cannot have no more than 2 credit deficiencies toward graduation. So when you come here, you would talk to your guidance counselor and, set up a meeting or whatever you got to do to make sure that you qualify, and then get your applications in, because this program does fill up quickly. And it's one of those things where, I hate to say it, but we have to turn some people away every now and then. So if you're interested, I would look into it, as soon as you can. Here's that career tree I was telling you about. The bottom level, entry level careers, you're looking at, okay, so I'm coming straight out of high school. I really don't want to go to college. I want to start working full time. So what can I be? The entry level careers down in the bottom right, you're looking at, a game reviewer, a game tester, an entrepreneur, an esports coach. We do play esports. We have Kent State Trumbull right down the street from us. They allow us to come into into their lab, and we go right after school. Every day there's a different match for a different game. So we might do Smash on Wednesday, Overwatch on Monday, just whatever. It depends. It changes every quarter. But anyways, we usually have one team for every game. So it's really neat how we have it set up, and it's all free. We play other schools from the state of Ohio, and we do the best that we can. We had a really good Overwatch team last year. So, but anyways, the bottom level, that's what you're looking at. Middle, you're looking at technical. Okay, that's a 2-year degree. So what can I do in a 2-year degree? 3D modeler, a game writer, a graphic designer, a lot of jobs for graphic designers. So one of the things that we do here in class is we get you certified in Adobe products. The very first thing you learn is Photoshop. You'll actually get a certificate from Adobe saying that you were certified in Photoshop. That is great for resumes and college applications. There's a million things that you can do once you learn Photoshop. So that's the very first thing that we do. Then we get into Dreamweaver, Animate, and the other Adobe products. So because of that, you could enter some of these higher career fields. So let's look at the top level, professional careers. That's 4 years of college or better. So a master's degree or a PhD. This is where you make the big money. application developer, an art director, a computer programmer, mobile app programmer, software developer, a UX designer, and the sky's the limit once you get to that level, because there's such a demand in this field that you would be able to move and get into something like this based on what you learn pretty quick. So here's the reason for that. Web and application development by the numbers, it suggests that nearly 1 million technology jobs will be unfulfilled by 2024. So there's a lot of jobs out there that just can't be accepted right now because there's not enough employees. So one of the stats also shows that colleges seem to be teaching more theory based on practice. Not they're looking at colleges and what you learn in college versus what you learn in career tech. So in career tech, we actually do hands-on here. You'll learn how to make a website. You'll learn how to do back-end programming. You'll learn how to do software and application development and write and test computer code. So what a way to go into college or get your first job coming out of high school like that. Okay, so here's some student testimonials. I have 2 students that we keep tabs on along with others, but these 2 come out as some of the ones to talk about. Branson, he's a Kent State major, computer science major. He placed first place in mobile applications in the national level for the Business Professionals of America. Every one of you guys will do BPA, we call it. You'll either do a individual presentation or a team presentation where you build a project like a website or a mobile app or a game. You'll have to build something and compete against other teams from other states. So we happen to get first place in the whole country. So that was a big moment. Kurt, on the other hand, on the other side there, he's still in college. He's going to Cedarville, and he and actually someone he met in class here are roommates down at Cedarville. So he wants to be a web developer. He doesn't want to do programming or game. He actually loves doing websites. So he's done a lot of websites already, actually. And that's how you can make money by freelancing and going to college. You can make some money while you're sitting in your dorm, basically. So it's great stuff to know and learn, and it'll stay with you for the rest of your life. So application deadline, you can start now. Talk to your guidance counselor. Make sure you get the priority deadline written down, because you don't want to wait until after Friday, January 15th. That's one of those deadlines that you don't want to miss, because if you want in this program, you got to get in pretty quick. Okay, so we're going to open it up for questions at this point, and I'm going to go on and show you guys the lab. And don't be afraid to type questions as I'm walking around, because Mr. Gorse and Mr. Panic are in the room watching, and they'll answer as we do this, okay? So let me get back to all right. So you guys should be able to see the lab. I'm going to walk around and show you the brand new lab that we got going on in here. We did it last summer. So when the kids came, the juniors came to school this year, this was the very first time this lab was used, basically. So we have egg chairs. You're probably thinking, what are egg chairs? These are chairs for software developers that we use specifically for coders and people who use the MacBooks. We'll come back here. We'll knock out a bunch of brainstorming ideas on the whiteboard. Then we'll sit down, and as a team, you come back here and work on your game or work on your website. Basically, get ready, prepare yourself for the competitions. So somebody said nice whiteboards. These are movable. They're on wheels, and you can wheel them around, and each team can write. This one here happens to be a website, so they're trying to figure out how to make the best website for the competition, where what to put on each page, and so on. Over here, This is a digital solution for a 3D model. They're trying to figure out how to virtually brand it. And they're coming up with a bunch of ideas like product launch, what they're going to do for a 3D mock-up. They're building a mobile app for it. They're doing promotional flyers. So you can see how all the things I told you about earlier, like the Photoshop and some of the software that you learn, how that comes into, how it comes into play. So you guys will get a MacBook and an iPad, but you'll also be sitting in the brand new desks with the iMacs. So the iMacs are equipped with software. All the Adobe products are on there. You have Unity as your game development software. As you sit in your seats, you can see how the presentations are made. So there's the big screen that everybody could view along with the back. So if you sit towards the back, you'll be able to see it from here and, work on your code and work on your websites as we teach you the language. And then obviously, here's the career tree that we were looking at. And each one of you will get a leaf and you'll put your name on it and you'll put it on the level in which you think you're going to go into. There's the entry level all the way to the professional level, which is the top. So a lot of students are trying to achieve that top level. And then when they graduate, we're going to give them an Apple or some other kind of token when we know that they graduated from college and they're actually in the field. This tree just came out like 2 years ago. So we haven't gotten anybody that's graduated yet. Okay, so let's move on to a couple other really cool things that we have in the lab. These are rolling carts. So your team could sit in a cart. You see that the markers you could use a dry erase on the top of the marker, on top of the board. So you could write on it and erase it. Each one of the tables, there's 3 of them. So we could have 3 groups doing that while one's sitting in the back, behind the wall. And then we could have one over here doing the PC games. We actually do Unity. All the Unity stuff is done on PCs over here. And I'll show you a little sneak peek at one of the games we're building. There's one of the levels. And they'll take that information and they'll use it on the PC to actually develop the game. And then we'll come into the VR. If it is a VR game, we'll go into the VR room. And here's our VR system. And they'll test it out, try it, shut the door, turn the fan on because it gets really hot when you're working out. And then all the other teammates and the rest of the class can watch what they developed on the TV screen and watch how crazy they are trying to play the game. So that is the VR room. It's not used to play existing games. You're not going to come in and sit there and do ninja whatever all day. It doesn't work like that. You have to build something and test it out in the VR room. And hopefully it's good enough to push out and let other people play. You want to make it so it's such a cool game that other people want to try it. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so we are at the point where I want to tell you a little bit about some of the Xcode and what Mr. Foudy does. So Mr. Foudy, he was fortunate enough to get hired by Apple, and he was able to travel around the country, and he picked up the Xcode programming language, and he now teaches it. So he's a professional at the level of teaching all the way up to the college level. And he is probably one of, I would say, less than 20 in the whole high schools in the country that are allowed to teach high school programs. And we just happen to be one of them. So we're lucky to have him. And he comes in on once a week for the juniors and seniors. And he will go over everything from the basics of just program language itself, learn what a function is, learn how to, or what a string is, an array, and all that stuff. So you learn about programming first, and then we get into the mobile app and game design in the later semesters. So this is what we would do. We would come in, put the screen on, turn the lights out, and we would sit there and learn code. So that would be once a week doing that. Then the rest of the time, we're doing Adobe products, we're doing game designs, we're working on BPA teamwork. There's never a dull moment in this class. So that's what I have for you. Now I'm going to give it back to Mr. Gorse and let him answer some of your questions. And, you know, feel free to chat away if you have to.
All right, good job, Mr. Pizziga. So you guys, some of you seem to be really excited about this, and that's great. I know it's one of our more popular labs. You know, with that being said, I just want to remind all of you that this program does fill up super fast. So make sure that you guys get your applications filled out by that priority deadline. Check out our website for dates on that. Talk to your homeschool guidance counselors for any additional interest that you have in filling out an application, and get that in as soon as possible. We do have waiting lists, and you don't want to be a kid on a waiting list if you're really interested in this program. So any other questions that any of you guys have, either about the lab that Mr. P can answer, or about the school in general, what the academics are like, you know, what the building's like, what the lunch is like. Any question you have, we can answer it for you now. We've got about 10 minutes left, so go ahead and type those out, and we'll answer them the best that we can. So we'll give you a few minutes here to ask some questions. Let's see, Marcus asks, what do you do during a regular day? All right, well, a regular day, not like this school year, but on a regular day, which I'm hoping that's where we'll be back next year. What we do is, we're not like a general high school where you have you know, scheduled periods throughout the day where you've got time broken in for, you know, music class and study halls and gym class and stuff like that. The morning, during the morning as a junior, the juniors would be in their lab, and you'd be in your lab for about 2.5 hours. You would then go to lunch. And then for the last part of the day, you'd have 3 classes. You would go to either math, science or social studies, and English. And so, and as a senior, you're going to come in and you're going to have your academics in the morning. So you'll do your math, your science, and your English in the morning, and then go to lunch. And then in the afternoon, the seniors go to lab. So the school day here is broken up into, like, I guess you'd say, 3 sections. You know, your lab is at one end, and then your academics are at the other end. So that's a really good question, Marcus. Anybody else? Any questions? Can you leave campus for lunch? No, you can't. I know there's some restaurants right down the road for that, but we have so many kids that attend here at TCTC. The lunch is actually pretty good, but we have more options than just a school lunch. We actually have a working store inside, which is one of our programs here, where you can buy things from a hot deli. They have all kinds of chips and soups and chilies and popcorn and all kinds of stuff you can buy from the store. And we also have our own restaurant called the, what is it, Cafe 528, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, 528. Correct. And the students run it, and you can order food from the restaurant and pick it up. So you got a lot of options for food, and the food here is actually pretty good. Skylar, how many students get accepted into the jobs they desire, such as game developing? Mr. P, that's a question for you.
Okay, so you saw the demand. It's just a really mind-blowing number. How many jobs are out there right now that aren't, there's not enough employees, put it that way. So the last I saw, there was 40,000 jobs available in our region for computer science right now. And it's just climbing. So every year it gets higher and higher.